racing in Sepang.
Welcome back. This is a live coverage of Formula 3 Asian Championship for race 11. With only 5 races to go for the season, and now Joy Edison from Black Arts is leading the championship with 191 points. And Jack Duhan is behind Joy Edison with 150 points. But before the race start, let's have a look of last race highlight. 各位观众，那么即将进行的是第11回合的比赛。现在呢，来自 Black Arts 车队的 Joy Edison 呢，现在是领跑积分榜，现在目前是191的积分。Jack Duhan 在他之后有150的积分。在比赛开始之前，首先让我们来回顾一下上一回合的精彩集锦。
Hello everybody and welcome along back to Sepang for race 11 of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. This the second race of 3 races this weekend at the Sepang International Circuit here in Malaysia. Some fantastic racing in yesterday's race 10 saw Jack Doohan take the victory with Joey Alders in second place and Jamie Chadwick taking her first podium position of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season in third position. All the cars just filing out of the pit lane now. The current points standings. Joey Alders still leading the way on 191 points. Jack Doohan cementing his second position with 150 points. Third is Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver, with 134 points, with Devlin De Francesco fourth and Sebastian Fernandez fifth. In the Masters category, Paul Wong still leads the way, but Thomas Ludi catching up fast. Well, as you can see, it's dry at the moment. It was a wet race yesterday. In the team's championship there, Black Arts Racing in the lead, only very narrowly from Pinnacle Motorsport, and Absolute Racing and High Tech Grand Prix not too far behind either. But it is dry this morning here in Sepang. There was some torrential rain yesterday, lots of standing water on the track. Most of that had dissipated by the time the cars got going for race 10, but there was still a bit of standing water around, and most of the drivers opted for wet weather tyres. It looks as if it'll be dry weather here, but the threat of rain is always present at this part of the world. It does tend to turn very quickly, and you can see there some very threatening looking clouds looming in the distance. It does rain a lot here at Sepang, but it does appear at the moment as if we're going to be having a dry race. That there is Alex Yu, one of Malaysia's most famous motor racing exports, the first Malaysian ever to drive in the Formula 1 World Championship back in 2002. And good to see him here at Sepang as well. This Sepang International Circuit, 5.543 kilometers long, 15 turns, and a real mix of different characteristics. Lots of long sweeping corners, 2 very long straights, and something for everybody here. This a FIA Grade 1 rated circuit. The first track on the Formula 1 calendar to be designed by the famous German architect Hermann Tilke. The track first appeared on the Formula 1 calendar in 1999 and ran for 19 seasons until 2017, hosting the Malaysian Grand Prix. Hermann Tilke, of course, also designing so many of the world's top racetracks today, including ones in Bahrain, in Shanghai, in Austin, and of course the fantastic Yas Marina circuit that the 2020 F3 Asian Championship visited last time out for round 3, races 7, 8 and 9. 5 rounds across this 2020 season and 3 races at each round, so 15 races altogether. We've had 10, and this is race 11. That is Pietro Fittipaldi, the Brazilian driver, who'll be starting this race from second on the grid. The grid order for this race is determined by the driver's fastest lap times in yesterday's race 10. And it was that man there, Joey Alders, who you just saw, who finished second in yesterday's race but set the fastest lap of the race. So he is starting from pole position. And that is a position that he knows very well. He's taken 4 race wins so far in the 10 races we've had so far, and he's leading the championship. In round 1 in Sepang back in December, Joey Alders also took 2 wins and a 3rd place, and that firmly helped him cement his current position at the head of the Drivers' Championship. But Pietro Fittipaldi will be alongside him on the grid. The Brazilian driver who finished 4th yesterday after starting 6th on the grid, had a very good run, overtaking Nikita Mazepin in the closing stages of the race, and really going very well towards the end. So it'll be interesting to see how well he stacks up against Joey Alders. That is Jack Doohan in the number 7 Pinnacle Motorsport car, the Australian driver who won yesterday's race from pole position, a very commanding victory. Started as he meant to go on from pole position, was never headed and never truly threatened as he took his 3rd victory of the 2020 season. Jack Doohan closing the gap on Joey Alders in the Drivers' Championship. The gap now 41 points. So Joey Alders still with a considerable lead, and Jack Doohan will want to do his best to try to narrow that again here this morning. In 4th on the grid, that is the British driver Jamie Chadwick for Absolute Racing, who took her first podium finish of the season yesterday, finishing in 3rd position, and had a very good battle with the likes of Nikita Mazepin and Ukio Sasahara. So Jamie Chadwick hoping for another strong showing today from 4th on the grid. Joey Alders on the left of your picture there in pole position, and Pietro Fittipaldi in that very strikingly liveried red car on the right-hand side. And it looks pretty dry at the moment. The cars look as if they're going to be starting on the slick tyres rather than the treaded wet tyres that they were all using yesterday. But we never quite know here in Sepang just how quickly the weather is going to turn. It's only a half-hour race, but the rain really comes down like stair rods when it comes down here in Sepang. As we look, you get a wonderful view there of the diffuser at the back of the car. That helps channel the airflow underneath the car. Aerodynamics are very important here. And we look at Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver, who is 3rd in the championship and starts this race from 5th position. And look, you can see he is another driver with those slick tyres on. The track surface does look pretty dry at the moment, and I should think they'll all be starting on slick tyres. But you see towards the side of, towards both sides of the track there, lots of tyres stacked up there. Always good to have the option. Maybe there's a sudden downpour and the mechanics will rush to change tyres. And let's go to Feline now.
Starting from P1, and what will be your approach for this race?
Yeah, pole position. First pole for the team, Black Racing. I'm just going to do my thing and enjoy the race. So that's it. No more, no less. So yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks. 那么呢，我刚刚问到他，因为他呢现在是领跑积分榜，而且从头位发车，所以呢，他今天呢也是希望能从头位发车就拿到第1的成绩，能稳固自己在积分榜榜首的位置。现在呢，虽然今天早上呢一直在下雨，不过呢，我们可以看到现在所有的车辆用的都是干胎。Back to you guys.
Well, Joey Alder's determined to enjoy himself there, and as well he might. He's sitting pretty on pole position as we see the 5-minute board there going up. Everybody still on the grid, mechanics and engineers just talking to the drivers, making sure that final preparations are all as they should be. And then soon they will disappear off the grid and it'll just be the cars and the drivers. One formation lap, and then they will line up on their grid spots. It's a standing start, it's not a rolling start, so all the drivers will line up on their grid spots as they are at the moment. The red lights will come on at the top of the picture there, and then they will go out and we will be racing again here in Sepang. Just the one formation lap today. We had 2 yesterday, which we sometimes do in the F3 Asian Championship in case of bad weather. If it's very wet, sometimes the organisers will elect to go for 2 formation laps just to help the drivers clear a little bit more of the water on the track and to help the drivers get a feel for what are undoubtedly going to be tricky conditions. But thankfully, it looks as if it's going to be a dry race today, so just the 1 formation lap before we go underway for race 11 here of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. 15 races in this season's championship, as I said earlier, so we're approaching the business end of the championship now, getting to be squeaky bum time for everybody. Race 11 this morning, and then it'll be race 12 this afternoon, and then there'll be no rest for the teams and drivers because in 1 weekend's time we're back racing again in Buriram in Thailand for races 13, 14 and 15, the final stop on the 5-round 2020 F3 Asian Championship calendar. And one of the, let's go back down to Feline now.
P2, and what will be your approach for this race?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we have a fast car. We're definitely quick in the wet, but it's dry now. The start of the grid that I'm starting aside, it's a bit wet compared to the inside, so I try to, get a good start and, try to go for the win.
Cool. 那么刚刚呢，Pietro 呢这一站呢，他是由第2位发车，他提到他对自己的车辆非常有信心，因为他的车辆非常的快。那么他希望在起步的时候呢，可以在1号弯的时候能够超越头车，拿到一个好的位置。Back to you guys.
Well, Pietro Fittipaldi there sounding confident, saying that he wants to go for the win. He's only had 1 podium finish so far in the championship. He finished 3rd back in race 7 at the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi, but he's starting 2nd on the grid today and charging hard to get his first win of the 2020 season. Currently in 6th position in the championship. He started yesterday's race in 6th place, but made it up to 4th by the end of the race and was going very strongly indeed, setting the 2nd fastest race lap, which of course sees him 2nd on the grid for this morning's race. Mechanics and engineers heading off the grid now, just final preparations being made. The drivers all visualizing their first corner, visualizing their start, getting focused and getting in the zone for 30 minutes of hard racing. A very wide track here, the Sepang International Circuit. Lots of overtaking opportunities, and the width of the track is also magnified by the rather small size of these F3 cars, quite a bit smaller than the Formula 1 cars that used to drive around here. And of course, when the cars are smaller, it means that there's more space on the track to overtake. We sometimes see cars going 5 or 6 abreast down the back straight on the first lap or so. Plenty of opportunities for overtaking here, especially that turn 15 hairpin that you can see in the background there. That comes off the back of a very long straight and then leads onto another very long straight, this start-finish straight here. Plenty of overtaking opportunities at turn 15, and we saw a few dramas there in yesterday's race. So that should be a pretty exciting place to watch the race from. The 1-minute board just going up, everybody filing off the grid now. And turn 1, 2, and 3 here at Sepang, also a very interesting complex of corners, very similar to the Shanghai International Circuit, which was on the F3 Asian Championship calendar last year, not appearing this year, but both those circuits, of course, designed by the German architect Hermann Tilke, who's designed so many of the world's top race circuits today. But 5.543 kilometers long and half an hour's racing here at Sepang. Everybody off the grid now, and the drivers will soon peel off from their grid spots for the formation lap. You'll see them weaving from side to side, desperately trying to get some heat into those tires and also into the brakes, because they don't work very well when they're cold. there we are, the green flag waving, and Joey Alders, the poleman, leads the field away. Pietro Fittipaldi starting in second place, and Jack Doohan, yesterday's race winner, starting from third. Let's have a look at the grid now. Confirmation that Joey Alders, the Dutch driver for Black Arts Racing, he's your poleman. Alongside him, Pietro Fittipaldi, the Brazilian driver, his highest grid slot of the season, and he'll be hoping for a very good showing. Yesterday's race winner, Jack Doohan, the Australian driver, racing under the British licence, starts third, and Jamie Chadwick, who finished third in yesterday's race, is alongside him on row 2. Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver for High-Tech, starts in 5th place, and his teammate Alessio De Leda, the Italian, is alongside him on row 3. 7th place is another of the High-Tech entrants, Ukyo Sasahara, last year's champion, a guest driver in this season's series, and he's partnered by his fellow Japanese driver Yu Kanemaru in 8th place. 9th is the Australian Tommy Smith for Absolute Racing, and alongside him is the Chinese driver Yu Kuai, driving for Zen Motorsport. Yu Kuai fills out row 5. Row 6 is Miki Koyama, making her first appearance this weekend in the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season, and bringing up the rear is Thomas Ludi in 12th place. So there they go on the formation lap. You can see them there desperately weaving, trying to get some heat into those tyres. Very common practice in not only the F3 Asian Championship, but motorsport all over the world. Drivers always want to get more grip into those tyres. And thankfully for the drivers, it's a dry race today. There was a threat of rain looming earlier, but the rain so far has relented. Remains to be seen whether we'll see any throughout the rest of the race, but it's just a half-hour race. Hopefully we'll be able to see some good hard running in dry conditions. Yesterday the conditions were damp. I did wonder if some of the teams and drivers might take a chance on the dry tyres, but all of them played it safe. And those wet tyres eventually lasted to the end of the race. Even though there was no rain throughout the race and a dry line was definitely emerging, we did see a lot of the drivers moving over to the wet parts of the track to desperately try to cool their treaded wet tyres, because when you race on wet tyres in dry conditions, those tyres very quickly start to overheat and lose their effectiveness and their grip very quickly indeed. No such problems today though. You can see that all the drivers there on the slick tyres, as we look at Nikita Mazepin, the number 3 there, starting from 5th on the grid. Number 3 car in number 3 position in the championship. Mazepin with 1 win under his belt so far in race 7, the first of 3 races at the Yas Marina circuit. And all the drivers filing around to their grid slots now. Joey Alders on the left, Pietro Fittipaldi on the right. And look, you can see already Pietro Fittipaldi has positioned his car pointing inwards towards Joey Alders, and indeed Joey Alders is pointing towards Pietro Fittipaldi. So the two of them may come close to each other in the middle of the track as the lights go out. That'll be something very interesting to look forward to. But everybody lining up on the grid now. The marshal at the back waves the green flag. We're ready to go. We'll see the red lights go on very shortly. There they are. The red lights are on, and now they're out, and we're racing here at Sepang. Fittipaldi comes over to the middle of the track, but Joey Alders makes a very good start. And behind him, Jack Doohan has made it up into 2nd place. Fittipaldi loses out down to 4th position. Jamie Chadwick looks as if she's up to 3rd. Jack Doohan goes around the outside. Does he make it past Joey Alders? They're side by side as they go through turn 1. Lots of cars going side by side, and it looks as if Jack Doohan, as they go through the left-hander at turn 2, has made it through, but Joey Alders still in the inside. Now he has the inside line for turn 3. Great racing so early here at Sepang. Joey Alders just holds onto the lead, but Jack Doohan right behind him in 2nd place, right on his gearbox. Tremendous stuff so early in the race. Joey Alders goes defensive as they come up to turn 4, takes the inside line. Jack Doohan to the outside. Jamie Chadwick is coming up the inside as well, and Chadwick up into 2nd position ahead of Jack Doohan, who got crowded out there as they went through turn 4. So Joey Alders in 2nd place. Jack Doohan now coming around the outside and retakes 2nd place. Joey Alders in the lead. Doohan up into 2nd again. Chadwick into 3rd. Mazepin is 4th. Fittipaldi is down into 6th position, it looks like. Not a good start for the Brazilian driver, but they go through this double right-hander at turn 7 and 8. It's still Joey Alders in the lead, but Jack Doohan challenging, is he? No. Not close enough for a move up the inside there. Doohan still in 2nd place. Chadwick up to 3rd. Mazepin 4th. Fittipaldi is down into 6th place. It might be Alessio De Leda into 5th. I can't quite see here, But one thing's for sure, Joey Alders has got away from his pole position. Was under intense pressure from the Australian Jack Doohan, but the Dutch driver Joey Alders managing to hold on to his lead, and they've all got away, not much in the way of incident. Thankfully, everybody managing to drive sensibly, nobody coming into contact, and they all come now along this long back straight. Joey Alders in the lead, Doohan second, Chadwick third, Mazepin fourth. Sasahara, I think that is, in fifth position, the Japanese driver, up from seventh on the grid. Fittipaldi down into sixth place, and one of the cars going, that's the 33 car of Yu Kanemaru, having a look up the inside there. But as they come through at the end of lap one, it's Alders in the lead, Doohan second, Chadwick third, Mazepin fourth, Sasahara fifth, Fittipaldi sixth, Tommy Smith is in seventh place, Yu Kanemaru eighth, Yu Kuai ninth, Alessio De Leda down into 10th position, and Miki Koyama in 11th place. Well, a breathless start here at Sepang for race 11 of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. There is Yu Kanemaru and Yu Kuai going at it, cheek by jowl, as they come through turn 3. Yu Kuai, who fell away in yesterday's race after qualifying fairly high up the grid, and he's being challenged now by Kanemaru. It looks as if Kanemaru going up the inside. The two of them were side by side there. Kanemaru has got out of that, and Yu Kuai takes the position. So Yu Kuai up into 8th place. That is the 16 car. That is Tommy Smith. He's in 7th place and just behind Fittipaldi. But look at this, the battle for the lead now, because Jack Doohan is right on the gearbox of Joey Alders and challenging the Dutch driver as they go through the double right-hander at turns 7 and 8. Joey Alders is going to have his mirrors absolutely full of Doohan now as they come hard braking down to the hairpin at turn 9. But Doohan not close enough there. Yu Kuai goes defensive there, trying to keep the 16 car of Tommy Smith behind him. So Yu Kuai has made a couple of positions up in that last lap. He was 9th and now up to 7th ahead of Kanemaru and Smith. Up at the front, it's still Joey Alders in the lead, but Jack Doohan very much keeping him honest. The gap was less than 0.4 of a second as they went through the start-finish line. And, well, look at this. Has Jack Doohan got much better drive coming off that corner onto this long back straight? It looked as if Joey Alders was a little bit slower and that Doohan had a bit more momentum. Let's see if Doohan goes for a move up the inside as they come to the hairpin here. Does he have a look? He has. Well, that was a bit of a half look. I don't think he was really close enough there. I think he was maybe looking to try to pressurize Joey Alders into a mistake, but the Dutch driver has shown so far this season that he's very, very good at leading from the front and dealing with pressure. 4 race wins under his belt so far, but he's being challenged now by Jack Doohan, who may go for a move up the inside. Is this the moment? Doohan goes up the inside and takes the lead as they come through turn 1, the right-hander, but he's gone wide now, and Joey Alders has retaken that position. Now it's the left-hander. They flick back for turn 2, and Joey Alders lives to fight another day. Well, fantastic racing between these two at the front of the field. Jack Doohan went to the inside, took the lead, but it looked as if he left his braking a little bit too late. He ran wide and Joey Alders got the lead back, but Jack Doohan now fighting back as they come through turn 4, not quite close enough. Joey Alders shuts the door and keeps the lead. Fantastic racing. 5 minutes gone, 25 minutes to go, and Joey Alders still just about hanging on to his lead, but Jack Doohan weaving this way and that and trying every trick in the book to try to overtake the Dutchman. And now he's still trying as they come through to the right-hander here. This, the double right at 7 and 8. Difficult to overtake there, but now there's a short straight before the hairpin at turn 9. But Joey Alders, it looks as if he's just got a little bit more of a gap now. Doohan not close enough to make a move there at turn 9. Chadwick still in 3rd, Mazepin still 4th, Sasahara still 5th, Fittipaldi 6th, Yu Kuai 7th, Kanemaru 8th, Smith 9th, and Alessio De Leda rounding out the top 10 at the moment. And the field very closely bunched together. Just 7 seconds covering the top 10 drivers as they went through the start-finish straight last time round, and Jack Doohan there taking a little bit of a wider line as they come onto this back straight, and that might be a bit of a clever move from Doohan, because taking the karting line there, going around the outside, maybe gives him a bit more edge coming onto this long straight. I wonder if Joey Alders has again lost out in terms of momentum there. Jack Doohan not quite close enough, again just going for that sort of half look, not really committing to an overtaking move, and maybe just moving around, trying to remind Joey Alders that he's there. I'm sure Joey Alders knows very well that Jack Doohan is right behind him, but Doohan will be trying every trick in the book to try to get past him, and he's got a bit of momentum here. Joey Alders has to go defensive to take the inside line. Doohan has the outside, but that will be the inside for this next turn 2 when they flick back to the left-hander, but Alders manages to keep in front. Great racing here at the front, here at Sepang, between these two. Great to see such close racing, and remember, this is for the lead of the race between the two championship battlers. It looks as if Doohan is quicker than Joey Alders, but he just can't find a way through. But can he go through here? Jack Doohan takes the lead as they go through turn 4, but has he overdone it on the exit of the corner? Joey Alders fighting back. They go side by side, but Doohan has the inside as they go through the fast left-hander, and Jack Doohan has taken the lead. Jack Doohan takes the lead from Joey Alders on lap 4, and he will look to extend that lead now. It looks as if, well, it had looked as if he was quicker than Joey Alders. He was very close behind the Dutchman, but as ever in motor racing, catching is one thing and passing is another thing entirely. But Jack Doohan has managed to do just that as they come through the turn 9 hairpin. That is Nikita Mazepin still in 4th place, sandwiched between Jamie Chadwick and his teammate Ukyo Sasahara. There is Chadwick in 3rd place. And she's now chasing Joey Alders, who is now in 2nd position because Jack Doohan, the Australian driver who won yesterday's race, has taken the lead from the Dutchman. Chadwick in 3rd place. This is turn 14. Very important to get good drive off turn 14 because then you've got this long straight. If you get bad drive off turn 14, that's really going to hurt you, really going to compromise your top-end speed on this long straight. One of the cars going defensive there. Can't quite see who that is from this angle, but you get a wonderful impression of speed just looking at how they go along that back straight. And that is Yu Kwai, the number 4 car. And he's being challenged again by Yu Kanemaru, the two of them having their own private battle there for 7th position. As Jack Doohan, the new fastest lap of the race, a 2 minutes 3.2. Joey Alders a 2:4.3 on that last lap. So Jack Doohan has taken a second out of Joey Alders. Jamie Chadwick also closing up on the Dutch driver. She's now just 1 second behind. And Nikita Mazepin just over 1 second behind Jamie Chadwick. The field still pretty closely bunched together. The top 10 cars covered by 8.5 seconds after 4 laps of racing. 9 minutes gone and just under 21 minutes to go, so we're approaching 1/3 distance in the race. Great to see these cars still locked so tightly together. There is Mazepin, the Russian driver, always there or thereabouts this season. Plenty of points positions. He has 1 win, 1 second place, 1 third place, and then a slew of 4th and 5th places. He's finished every race so far and every race in the points, so the Russian a very consistent performer in this season's championship. There he is in 4th place, just going through now, and a little puff of smoke there from Mazepin. Let's hope he hasn't flat spotted his tyres too much. He doesn't want to be doing that too often, otherwise he'll get nasty flat spots on his tyres. It'll be difficult to control the car, and he may have to come in for a new set of tyres. But only half an hour of racing today. No tyre stops scheduled for any of the teams, unless, of course, we get a sudden deluge of rain, and it doesn't look like we're going to do that. Plenty of sunshine now in Sepang, and you can see there just how bone dry the surface of the track is as we look at Jack Doohan leading the field around, just as he did yesterday from his pole position. A lights to flag victory for Doohan yesterday, never headed and never seriously threatened, as he won ultimately by around about 4 seconds. There is Pietro Fittipaldi, who was hoping to be challenging for the victory, but he's fallen down to 6th position on the first lap from 2nd on the grid. So not a great start for Fittipaldi, but 19.5 minutes of racing still to go, and anything can happen. There is Jack Doohan, your race leader, having started lap 6. And he's really putting the hammer down now. Another new fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes 2.3 for Jack Doohan. Joey Alders still in 2nd place. His last lap, a 2 minutes 3.1. That's his best lap of the race, but some 0.8 of a second slower than Jack Doohan's best efforts. So it does appear that Doohan is slotting his car into the grooves on the track, as he did yesterday, and pulling out steadily a lead that he's going to look to protect now until the end of the race. 18 minutes and 40 seconds still to go here at Sepang. And of course, there's another race this afternoon, race 12. This is race 11 of 15 in the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season. So plenty more racing to come this afternoon. No rest for the drivers and teams as Joey Alders there just locking up, a little puff of smoke coming from his front left tyre. And he won't want to be doing that too much. He's already losing a little bit of time to Jack Doohan, and locking up like that won't do him any favours whatsoever. But he's still holding on to second place fairly convincingly. And remember, he's got a 41-point lead in the Drivers' Championship, so he doesn't necessarily need to win the race. He just needs to keep on consistently scoring points. And I don't think he'll be too disappointed if he finishes second with Jack Doohan first, because that would cut into his lead by another 7 points. But that would still leave him with a 34-point lead in the championship with just 4 races to run. There is Jamie Chadwick in third position, and she finished third in yesterday's race for her first podium finish of the season, legally at least, because she finished first on the road at the Yas Marina circuit last time out, but was penalised for a jump start and was dropped down to 8th in the final classification. But a measure of redemption yesterday for Jamie Chadwick, finishing third, and another strong showing for the British driver here today. And she's got stronger and stronger as the championship has gone on. Still Jack Doohan in the lead, therefore, and Joey Alders in second place, and Jamie Chadwick really closing up on Joey Alders now. And she took 0.3 of a second out of the Dutch driver on that last lap, but it looks as if she's taken even more time out of him so far. So Chadwick really having a good race in third place and extending her advantage over Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver, in fourth position. Sasahara still in fifth place. Last year's season champion, of course, Ukio Sasahara. And he is a guest driver. He's not eligible to score points, but nevertheless, nice for Sasahara to get some racing under his belt in these Northern Hemisphere winter months. And one of the great advantages of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship season is just that the season takes place in the Northern Hemisphere winter. We started here in Sepang in December last year. We had 2 races, or 2 rounds rather, in Dubai and Abu Dhabi in January. And then round 4 here this weekend and round 5 next weekend at the Buriram circuit in Thailand. So the 2020 season will be over in February before any of the European seasons actually start. And that means that the drivers here competing in this championship will be able to then compete in another championship, and that will do wonders for their all-important FIA super license points. If you want to compete in the top level of single-seater motorsport, the pinnacle of motorsport, Formula One, as many of these young drivers have aspirations to do, you need an FIA super license. And to do that, you need to accrue a certain amount of ranking points through the lower championships over the past 3 seasons. And the winner of this F3 Asian Championship will get 18 super license points and will then be able to compete in another championship when the European season starts in March and April. Of course, it's too cold, really, to go racing in these European winter months. So that's why the F3 Asian Championship racing in warmer climes, such as here in Sepang, also in Thailand and in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So a great opportunity to get some racing under their belts in these winter months for the drivers here. And the likes of Jack Doohan, Joey Alders, Jamie Chadwick and Nikita Mazepin, once this championship finishes next week, will be itching to carry on racing in other championships later on in the year. At the front, it's still Jack Doohan, pulling out a bit more of a lead now over Joey Alders. And when they cross the line again, we'll see just how big that gap is. It was 3 seconds at the last count, and Jamie Chadwick now just less than half a second behind Joey Alders. You can see visually how small the gap is. So Jamie Chadwick, another driver, closing up on Joey Alders after Jack Doohan hunted down the Dutchman and passed him after 4 laps of the race. Joey Alders taking a little bit of a different line, going a bit wider through turn 14 as they come onto that back straight. It did seem as if Joey Alders was a little bit slower than Jack Doohan when the two of them were fighting for position on this back straight. I wonder how much quicker Jamie Chadwick is, and the British driver going up the inside but not quite close enough. Again, that was a little bit half-hearted. I think more about Jamie Chadwick trying to pressurise Joey Alders into a mistake by weaving this way and that behind him. But again, the Dutchman showing that he's more than capable of dealing with that. But again, Jamie Chadwick having another bite of the cherry as they come down hard braking to turn 1. Chadwick on the outside, Alders on the inside. Alders still in second place. But again, it does appear as if the Dutch driver is a little bit slower on the straight than Jamie Chadwick. It did appear that that was the case with Jack Doohan as well when the two of them were fighting for the lead. It may be that Jamie Chadwick is getting a bit of a tow from Joey Alders, sitting in the slipstream of the Dutch driver's car and therefore losing a bit of wind resistance and giving a bit of top-end speed advantage. Or it may be that Joey Alders has a slightly different setup on his car that means that perhaps he's losing out on top-end speed if he's looking to go quicker through the corners. And indeed, as they go through these sweeping turns, it does appear as if Joey Alders has eked out a little bit more of a gap. Meanwhile, Jack Doohan still sitting pretty at the front, and you can see now how much bigger the gap is between Doohan and Joey Alders in second place. 3.7 seconds at the last count, the last time they went over the start-finish line. Joey Alders there, again, just locking up a little bit his front left tyre, and that won't do him any favours whatsoever. Jamie Chadwick very close behind him and putting the Dutch driver under a lot of pressure. 12 minutes of the race still to go, 18 minutes gone. So we're approaching the 2/3 mark, and Jamie Chadwick still looking for a way past Joey Alders. But the Dutch driver doesn't make too many mistakes. Going a little bit wide there through turn 13, and again it seems as if Chadwick is closer as they go around the hairpin onto this long back straight. I think she's closer this time. She might go for a little bit of a move. Joey Alders has to go defensive to the inside line. Chadwick has the outside. Can she make it through as they go through the final corner, this hairpin here? Joey Alders goes and runs wide, and Chadwick now has the inside. They're side by side as they come across the start-finish line to start lap 10. Jamie Chadwick to the right, Joey Alders to the left. Who is going to win out? It looks as if Joey Alders still has the advantage. The Dutch driver going defensive. Jamie Chadwick to the outside. Not close enough. Joey Alders lives to fight another day, but has he run wide? No, it looks as if he's kept his line and still in second position. But again, it does appear that Jamie Chadwick has the quicker car than Joey Alders at this stage of the race, and with the two of them squabbling like they are, they're losing time relative to the cars behind them. And Nikita Mazepin, the Russian driver in fourth place, looks as if he's soon going to join the party. Chadwick again having a look around the outside of Joey Alders as they come through turn 4. Joey Alders shuts the door, and Chadwick, two wheels on the grass. That won't do her any favours at all. She'll have lost a bit of time there. And Nikita Mazepin, now the Russian driver, maybe fancying his chances. So what was a 2-car battle now turning into a 3-car and perhaps soon a 4-car battle, because Ukio Sasahara is maintaining a watching brief in 5th place as well, just behind his teammate Mazepin. So Doohan still in the lead, but this is the real interest in the race now, the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th places. All of them, those 4 cars, absolutely together as they come through the right-hander. The long sweeping turn at turn 10. Joey Alders still heading that train of cars now, but Jamie Chadwick looking for a way past. The British driver clearly quite a bit faster than Joey Alders at this stage of the race, but no way through. Joey Alders is driving very well, very sensibly, very defensively, placing his car in all the right places on the track, making it as difficult as possible for Jamie Chadwick to get past. Let's see if Chadwick can have a look on this back straight here, but it looks as if she's a little bit further away now, nevertheless getting the tow and looking up the inside as they come through the hairpin at turn 15. Chadwick goes to the inside, Joey Alders on the outside. They're side by side as they come through the hairpin, just as they were last lap. It's deja vu, the two of them side by side again. They had this drag race last time out. They went across the start-finish line, and again, it's the same thing happening. But Joey Alders again looks as if he's just managed to hold on to second place. Chadwick goes to the outside. And Chadwick to the outside, just nudging ahead now. Now, can she take the inside for this next left-hander? Yes, she's got the inside line now. Are the two of them going to make it through? They're side by side, and Jamie Chadwick makes it through. And Nikita Mazepin now on the outside. They're three abreast as they come through the long sweeping right-hand turn at turn 3. Who's going to win out here? Look at this. This is tremendous racing. Alders on the left, Chadwick in the middle, Mazepin on the right. Who's going to win out as they come through turn 4? Chadwick goes up the inside and through the middle. Chadwick takes the position and Mazepin goes through. Chadwick and Joey Alders battling amongst themselves, and Nikita Mazepin took advantage of that situation, went from 4th to 2nd. Tremendous racing here at Sepang. Mazepin up to 2nd. Chadwick stays 3rd. Joey Alders down to 4th. And then several cars behind them joining the party as well. There is Pietro Fittipaldi having a look up the inside of, well, that's Joey Alders down into 5th place. So Ukyo Sasahara, it must be, in 4th place. And Joey Alders has fallen, tumbling down the order. Fittipaldi there up into 5th place. Joey Alders down into 6th position. And Yu Kanemaru into 7th place. Absolutely breathless stuff here at Sepang. Really hard to keep track of exactly who is where. Joey Alders down into 6th position now. The Dutchman tumbling down the order, losing a hatful of places in almost the time it takes to say it. But after all that, Mazepin now in 2nd place, Chadwick in 3rd, Sasahara 4th, Fittipaldi 5th, and Joey Alders in 6th place, with Yu Kanemaru just behind him in 7th place. And excuse me if I just catch my breath for a minute or two, because that was tremendous racing. Hardly time to draw breath and keep track of what's going on. And Jamie Chadwick again having a look up the inside, this time of Nikita Mazepin. It looked as if she was struggling there to slow the car down, but they're going side by side again. It's deja vu once more for Jamie Chadwick, but this time she's got Mazepin ahead of her instead of Joey Alders. She's going into the slipstream of the Russian driver there, who goes defensive. He's got the inside line. Can he keep it going? Ukyo Sasahara in 4th place as well. Don't forget about him, because he'll look to take advantage if these two trip over each other, just as Mazepin took advantage of Jamie Chadwick and Joey Alders squabbling for position earlier and jumped from 4th to 2nd position. A tremendous piece of opportunist driving there from Nikita Mazepin. He saw an opportunity and he went for it, but he's going to have to go defensive again now from having been on the attacking side. He goes defensive as Jamie Chadwick looks to go around the outside, once again gets pushed out and goes down to 4th place as Ukyo Sasahara up now into 3rd position. So Mazepin holds on to 2nd, Sasahara up to 3rd, and Jamie Chadwick down to 4th place. Great racing here at Sepang, up and down the field. These cars passing and repassing, giving each other room, showing each other respect. Hard but fair racing, and that's exactly what we want to see. Jack Doohan continuing on his merry way at the front, but there's plenty of adventures behind him, with just under 6 minutes of the race still to go. And Mazepin now has the relative luxury of his teammate Sasahara acting as a buffer between him and Jamie Chadwick. Remember, Sasahara, a guest driver, not eligible to score points, and so instead of trying to overtake Nikita Mazepin, he might just hold position and try to help his teammate out here, because Mazepin can score points and Sasahara can't. So I wonder if there might be a little bit of team orders at play here, and perhaps Sasahara will be trying his hardest to keep Jamie Chadwick at bay. It's not against the rules. It's, of course, it's perfectly their teammates, and they're perfectly entitled to race as they will. But Sasahara now acting as a buffer between Mazepin and Jamie Chadwick in 4th place. So Chadwick will have to overtake Sasahara, the Japanese driver, before she can have another bite at Nikita Mazepin. It's 5 minutes of the race to go. Jack Doohan still leading, Mazepin 2nd, Sasahara 3rd, and Jamie Chadwick, is she challenging, going up the inside? Sasahara going very defensive and keeping Chadwick behind him as they go through turn 1, and now the left-hander at turn 2. I wonder if some of the tyres are starting to go off a little bit as well. You can see, look at Sasahara's left rear tyre. You can see the graining there, the line going through the left rear tyre. I wonder if some of these tyres are starting to cry enough. But looking at the lap times, doesn't appear as if there's a significant drop-off. Sasahara's last lap, a 2-minute 5.3, and that's about 2 seconds slower than his best lap. But of course, he has been squabbling for position with these drivers for the last couple of laps or so. And when you're fighting for position like this, very often you lose out and you compromise your ultimate lap time. But it doesn't look as if anybody is in severe tyre trouble at the moment. Nobody falling back very badly, apart from Joey Alders. His last lap, a 2 minutes 7.4, and the Dutch driver now down in 7th position. And of course, just a couple of laps ago, he was in 2nd place, but then fell tumbling down the order very quickly indeed. And he's now been overtaken by Yu Kanemaru, and Yu Kwai now has Joey Alders in his sights as well. So not a good race for the Dutch driver, and of course this will hurt his championship bid, because if he had finished in 2nd place, he would have got 18 points. Now in 7th position, he's only on course for about 6 points, and that will do his championship bid severe damage, and that will help Jack Doohan significantly close the gap, but because that gap currently sits at 41 points between Doohan and Joey Alders. Jack Doohan currently stands to take 25 points if he wins this race, which he looks like doing with just 3 minutes to go. So Doohan here can take a real chunk out of Joey Alders' championship lead, and that's very good news for us spectators, because we want to see a nice close championship battle going down to the wire right in the last couple of races next weekend at Buriram in Thailand. Meanwhile, it's still Mazepin in 2nd, Sasahara still 3rd, Chadwick down to 4th, Fittipaldi in 5th place, Yu Kanemaru 6th, Joey Alders still just holding on to 7th place, but the gap between him and Yu Kwai in 8th position was just 0.2 of a second as they crossed the line at the last count. And if you can see in the background there, it looks as if Yu Kwai has got past Joey Alders. So Yu Kwai up into 7th and Joey Alders down to 8th place. So it's not been a good race here for the championship leader Joey Alders, and this is really going to dent his championship hopes. He'll be hoping for a much better performance in race 12 later on this afternoon. 2 minutes of racing still to go, and the field has settled down a little bit from those breathless few laps we had just a few minutes ago. Mazepin now with a little bit of a lead over Sasahara, his teammate, who probably isn't going to try to put up too much of a fight against the Russian driver. Sasahara in 3rd place, keeping Jamie Chadwick in 4th place behind him. Behind Chadwick, it's Pietro Fittipaldi, who started in 2nd position, but has never really featured at the top end of the race. Fell down to 6th on the opening lap, now up to 5th after Joey Alders fell down the order, but Fittipaldi in 5th place, Yu Kanemaru in 6th position, Yu Kwai it is now in 7th place, and Joey Alders into 8th place and falling away really quite badly. Look in the back of your picture there, Yu Kwai overtook Joey Alders just on this lap, and already there's a significant gap between him and Joey Alders. So the Dutch driver perhaps in a bit of tyre trouble, but whatever it is, clearly not having a very happy time of it. The last lap board there you see going through is Jack Doohan there in the lead, 6.4 seconds ahead of Nikita Mazepin. There he is, the Russian driver in 2nd position. Ukio Sasahara is still in 3rd place. Jamie Chadwick very close behind, just on the gearbox of Sasahara, but the Japanese driver, another very experienced driver despite his young age, of course the reigning F3 Asian Championship Series champion. So plenty of experience at the sharp end of the grid, and plenty of experience trying to keep fast cars behind him, because he knows what it takes to win a race, does Sasahara. And he's keeping Jamie Chadwick behind him very well at the moment. The British driver looking for a way by, but no such luck as they go through the long left-hander at turn 5. Now the long right-hander at turn 6. This a real test of the driver and car, these medium speed corners, as we look at Jack Doohan on his final lap, what looks like his victory lap. Hard braking down to the left-hander at turn 9, and Jack Doohan really so far has been the man of the weekend. He led every lap yesterday from pole position, and then from 3rd on the grid today, made his way up into 2nd very, very quickly indeed, and then took the lead on lap 4 from Joey Alders, and then was never seriously threatened. Jack Doohan clearly the man to beat here at Sepang this weekend as he goes onto the back straight for the very last time. You can see the lead that he's got over Nikita Mazepin. 6.5 seconds over the Russian driver. He comes round the left-hand hairpin for the final time, and Jack Doohan makes it 2 wins out of 2 at Sepang in round 4. He takes victory in race 11 of the 2020 F3 Asian Championship. Mazepin finishes 2nd, Sasahara 3rd, Chadwick finishes 4th, Fittipaldi in 5th place, Yu Kanemaru finishes 6th, Yu Kwai in 7th place. Joey Alders, the championship leader, does indeed finish in 8th place, just ahead of Alessio De Leda. Well, absolutely breathless excitement here at Sepang for race 11. There is your race winner, Jack Doohan, his 2nd win in as many races here at Sepang in round 4. And look at his front left tyre there. You can just about see it, the graining, that sort of long black line. There you get a good view of just how hard he's been working and how hard he's been pushing his car and those tyres there. And indeed, all of the drivers, their tyres in a similar state at the end of this race. 30 minutes of very hard racing indeed. But at the end of it, Jack Doohan emerging victorious. Nikita Mazepin in 2nd position and Ukyo Sasahara in 3rd place. Sasahara, of course, a guest driver, so not eligible to score points. So Jamie Chadwick, who finished 4th on the road, will inherit that 3rd position, and it will be Jamie Chadwick that we see in 3rd place on the podium ceremony in just a few minutes' time. There is the 23 car of Joey Alders. Not a good race for the Dutch driver. That is his lowest finish of the season so far, and certainly a far cry from earlier on in the season in round 1 here at Sepang in December, where Joey Alders took 2 wins and a 3rd place, and that really set him on his way to the championship lead that he currently enjoys. But he's had a big chunk of that 41-point lead wiped out now by Jack Doohan. Jack Doohan, of course, taking 25 points, the maximum points for winning the race, and Joey Alders for finishing in 8th position, just a measly 4 points. So 21 points Jack Doohan has taken out of Joey Alders' lead now. The championship lead, just 20 points. And what a battle we're going to have now for the remaining 4 races of the season between Jack Doohan and Joey Alders. And Nikita Mazepin, of course, you can't discount him just yet either, finishing 2nd today. So that is another 18 points to the 134 points that he had before this race began. And that helps cement his 3rd position in the drivers' standings. The cars all filing into the pits now. And we'll hear, hopefully, from race winner Jack Doohan very quickly indeed. There is Jamie Chadwick just parking up. Of course, she takes 3rd position, even though she finished 4th on the road, because Ukyo Sasahara is a guest driver and not eligible for points. There's Jack Doohan, the race winner. A sense of deja vu for him, because this is exactly the situation that he found himself in yesterday. Another very comfortable victory, but in very different circumstances. In a dry race today instead of the wet conditions that we had yesterday. And unlike yesterday, where he started from pole and was never headed by any other driver, today he really had to work for it, starting from 3rd on the grid, moving up to 2nd after just the 1st lap, and then taking the lead after 4 laps and holding that to the end, receiving the congratulations from his team, his crew, and of course his father, the motorcycle world champion Mick Doohan, will be very pleased with his boy's efforts. Mick Doohan very famous on 2 wheels, Jack Doohan clearly preferring 4 wheels to 2, and just 17 years of age, Jack Doohan, and clearly a very bright future ahead of him in motorsport. There he is, just taking off his helmet. Doesn't look too happy, but of course maybe he's aware that there's another race this afternoon. He's got to stay focused, and his attentions, I'm sure, will now focus on race 12 of 15 in this season's championship. We'll be hearing from him very shortly indeed. Jamie Chadwick in the foreground again. Another sense of deja vu for her, because she finished 3rd in yesterday's race. Nikita Mazepin, of course, the meat in that particular sandwich, finishing in 2nd position. But Jack Doohan, the winner of today's race, and he's with Feline now.
Hey Jack, congratulations! 2 wins back to back, and it's also give you a very valuable point for the overall championship. So what's this race means for you?
Yeah, obviously it's good points. Be able to beat Joey firstly, and then him not being on the podium for whatever reason. I don't know, it just didn't seem like he had the pace. It was just getting past him and then managing the tyres the whole race. Obviously the degradation was really high, and then in the last lap I tried to push to see what I had less. But no, it was good enough to keep everyone else behind, so that's all we had to do. Thanks.
Thank you. 那么刚刚我问到他呢，他这场比赛呢，其实是就是他昨天也是拿到了冠军，那么呢，让他拿到了总积分榜，又拿到了25分的好积分，这样他跟 Joey 的距离又再一次的缩小了。那么呢，这样的话呢，他提到呢，他一直呢在比赛当中拿到了一个非常好的节奏，同时呢，他在最后呢也是争取到一个非常快的速度来把后面的人拖得远一点，那么最后拿到了冠军。Back to you guys.
Well, interesting to hear Jack Doohan there talking about the degradation on the tyres. It did certainly look as if the tyres were beginning to cry enough. But none of the drivers and none of the teams deciding to make a tyre stop. This race only half an hour long and just about long enough for the drivers to do the whole race on one set of tyres. So Jack Doohan, the race winner there. Nikita Mazepin in second place. And Jamie Chadwick rounding out the top three. The rain, thankfully, has relented. It was a dry race this morning, and we'll be hoping for another dry race later on this afternoon. You can see how sunny it is now. Lots of shadow there on the ground, and a little bit of wind here, but confirmation then of the final results. Jack Doohan ultimately winning by 7.5 seconds from Nikita Mazepin, just ahead of Sasahara, with Jamie Chadwick 4th, Pietro Fittipaldi 5th, Yu Kanemaru 6th, Yu Kuai 7th, Joey Alders down in 8th place, Alessio Deleda 9th, and Miki Koyama classified 10th, with Tommy Smith classified 11th and Thomas Ludi not finishing and down in 12th place.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're now having the podium ceremony for 2020 Formula 3 Asian Championship certified by FIA Race 11. Congratulations to our top 3 drivers. Now, the winner of the race is car number 7, Jack Doohan from Pinnacle Motorsports. Second place, car number 3 from High Tech Grand Prix, Nikita Mazepin. Third place, car number 15 from Absolute Racing, Jamie Chadwick. Now it's my honor to invite Mr. Tong Wei-Yin, Executive Director of International R&D Center of Giti, to present the trophy to the winners. Let's have group photo. Okay, thank you, Mr. Tony. Now it is the time for the champagne time.
So after some fantastic racing this morning here at Sepang, which resulted in Jack Doohan winning the race, next up is the post-race press conference. We'll hear from Jack Doohan, Nikita Mazepin and Jamie Chadwick. Stay tuned for race 12 later on this afternoon.
Welcome to the press conference of race 2 of round 4. Congratulations to the podium finishers. Jack, another flawless race. Tell us about the start, and is it a big advantage to start on the right where the track is slightly drier?
Yeah, definitely. It's better starting on the left. But yeah, my teammate got a fairly decent start and started in behind me, so I guess it was difficult, but he obviously did a good job of that. Tried to challenge Joey into turn 1, but he did a good job to stay there and defend the position, and then yeah, from then on in I was trying to attack, but not obviously kill the tyre too much. And then yeah, I kind of lunged it up into turn 4 because I knew he was braking early because I don't think knew how dry the track was. And then so I got up his inside there, and then to be honest I didn't know how hard to push, so I didn't know that we were running slightly low pressures for the other races, so I didn't know if he was going to come on or not. But no, his pace kept on dropping and dropping. And I had a fair amount of front degradation, so I was trying to limit the deg as much as possible to not cause something that could happen to hurt the win. And then yeah, just kept that pace and luckily hold on for the win.
All right, thank you very much. Nikita, very strong result. Tell us about your fight with Joey and Jamie. It looked pretty interesting on TV.
Yeah, like I said before, I'm not sure that's what. Yeah, like I said before, it's always fun, when you're in sort of P3 before coming up to a group of cars. In cars, in single seaters is not so much close racing, and when you see that one car is sort of struggling and another one is trying to overtake, is always a nice position to be finding yourself. And yeah, it was a nice fight, a few side by sides in a few places. No. Track, like Jack said, wasn't 100% dry, so that made it even better. And it's good to come out on P2. My team was P3, and that was quite nice. Starting recently, follow back, and which is nice after the race yesterday, where it was well as whatever. So that's it.
Thank you very much. Jamie, strong result, and I must say one of the best races we've seen this season together with Joey. Unfortunately, you lost out on the fight between the three of you. But tell us about the fight with Joey. What happened?
Yeah, a bit frustrated, to be honest. I mean, yesterday I was happy to be on the podium. Today, a little bit frustrated to miss out on P2. I think, I had a good start, slotted into P3 after the first lap, and yeah, I was sort of quite comfortable there. Joey's pace was a bit quicker in the early laps, but quite quickly started to drop off, so I was able to close in, and then to the point where he was really struggling with the pace when I started to attack, and yeah, he didn't make life easy for me, so when trying to pass him, it allowed Nikita and Yukio to close up, which then made it a four-way fight. And yeah, a bit frustrating to lose out to Nikita when trying to pass Joey, because I think we had good pace to be comfortably in P2. But yeah, win some, you lose some, and yeah, happy to be on the podium again.
Thank you very much. I've got one more question. It seems like this second half of the season you found a lot more pace compared to the start. What do you think has changed, or?
I think, to be honest, we came into Sepang a bit on the back foot. We missed out on a bit of testing. New team just came straight in, and yeah, I think the nature of the championship is so fast flowing. It's quite hard to make the gains you want to, or big gains in only race weekends. So yeah, I think the back-to-back weekends have helped us find a bit more pace. I've been confident that we could have been quick all along, but frustrated that we couldn't show that early on in the season. But yeah, it's like London buses now, so hopefully the next few races are going to be good too.
We also do. Thank you very much.